Welcome, I'm the Deadwood Jedi. This is another Raid Shadow Legends video, and today we are going to be doing the most basic team in existence. It's a simple 1-1 speed ratio. This is the foundation for every speed tune we have. When people first discovered that you can stay between 171 and 189 or 191 and like 207 or something like that, and stay at a 1-1 ratio with the clan boss, it really changed the game. All of a sudden we were able to actually tune our teams and have solid results. But it set that foundation so that when the calculator came out, we were able to utilize things like turn meter boost, speed buffs, and even faster speeds, and find regular speed tunes as a result of that. And do that with a variety of champions and a variety of teams. But I want to get back to the basics. It's something that I don't show all the time here because, you know, usually I'm showcasing more fancy builds. But this is really what most of you probably should be building or have built in your course of time. If you don't have unkillable champions, this is a perfect place to start for your clan boss team. And because of that, I wanted to showcase it. On top of that, we're going to be using a variety of interesting champions to see what they do on clan boss. One of my favorites, and I think one of the best clan boss champions in this game, Kyoku. There was a guaranteed shard event not too long ago, and I remember when this champion came out, I actually did build a 2-1 ratio team using Krisk to showcase Kyoku, and I just got the footage lost. So I've recently found that, and I'll probably showcase that at some point in the future here as kind of like a throwback build, but I wanted to use Kyoku in a basic team. So those of you that have pulled her can see how effective she is keeping your entire team alive, dealing damage, and adding a ton of versatility to your clan boss team. On top of that, we're going to bring in Urticata, who's another fairly new champion who is really, really good for clan boss. It has this crazy passive ability that I think we really don't realize how effective that can be. And so I want to bring both of them in. We're going to be using a few other champions as well, just to make this as OP as possible, because we are on the test server. And one of my favorite things about the test server is I actually get to build my champions out to the nines. I get to really make some crazy builds. And I know maybe that's not a great example of, hey, this team's attainable by everybody, but you know what? I need to have some fun here too, and this is fun for me. Let's go ahead and we're gonna look at the team setup, and then we're gonna go into the run. Before that, I do want to remind you guys, go ahead, hit that subscribe and notification bell. It is the easiest way to support my channel, and boy, I love doing these videos for you guys, but I need your support to be able to continue to do them. So if you guys can subscribe, that means a ton to me, and then the notification bell, just so you don't miss out when I do showcase a new team or a new style of build, or put something out there like maybe this is going to be that really hits home for what you're doing with your squad. On top of that, if you enjoyed today's music, we do have that Soundstripe link down below in the pinned comment and description of this video, like all my videos, because honestly, I love the music and I think you guys do too. All right, this is the team I'm going to be using today. We have Hotatsu, Tatura Rhymehide, Kyoku, Martyr, and Urticata. Now, each of these champions is bringing something special for the team. Remember, there's so much stuff that we need to bring into our teams that, you know, getting a fancy tune is all great and all, but if you're not bringing the right buffs and debuffs, it doesn't really do you any good. So we need healing, right? That's where Hotatsu is going to be coming in, because he has a leech on his A1 skill. Now, this by itself, it's only like a 60% chance to land. So if we don't have counterattack or a bunch of ally protection, or ally attack, I should say, or a bunch of like turn meter boosts, so we're getting 2-1 ratios, it's not a consistent thing. But we do have counterattack because of Martyr in this team. So this should stay up for most of the fight and allow us to heal up. And that's going to be crucial. We're going to need to keep that buff up, that debuff up, I should say, so that we can heal our team up. On top of that, brings a decreased attack ability. It's not consistent, so we're not relying on it, but it is going to be helpful, as well as this increased defense and continuous heal buff. Now, the increased defense buff is going to be really nice because it's going to help us guide the stun, and that's going to be really important. And the continuous heal, obviously, just an extra healing is always a nice thing to have. On top of that, it has a pretty decent passive here where it removes a debuff from him. It's not going to be an issue because we are going to be bringing in Tatura Rhymehide to block the debuff for us. And in order to do that, we're going to prioritize Tatura's A2 ability, and that's what we really want from her, right? Now, the A3 with the Veil is a wonderful skill, and I really do like it, but For us, the most important thing is blocking the debuff. And if we can't, let's say on your account, get to a 4-3 ratio, this is going to be the skill that we're going to want to prioritize, this block debuff ability, the Wings of Shelter. And so that's what I'm doing right here. We have Kyoku, and Kyoku is going to be giving us ally protection. Kyoku is actually going to be going last in our build here. We won't have counterattack with her, which is definitely a negative. We definitely miss out on that because we have her going after Martyr in order to make sure that we have ally protection up for the majority of this fight. One thing I would love to do, and if I were actually building this for myself, one thing I would do, but I just kind of want to showcase her in a normal team, one thing I would do is bring in a buff extender, right? Have Kyoku go before Martyr, add a buff extender, allow that ally protection to stand on everybody for the entirety of the fight, allow that counterattack to stay on Kyoku for the entirety of the fight. I think that would be the optimal way to go. But as it is, she is absolutely insane for this because she has an ally protection ability and block damage buff on her for 3 turns. The ally protection is 2 for everybody else, and the block damage is 3 turns, which is a long time, but remember, she gets an extra turn on this. So all of her stuff works basically on a 3-turn cooldown because of that extra turn, and because of the block damage, we don't have to worry about her taking damage from the ally protection, at least for 50 turns. Which means that we can do crazy stuff like build awesome 250 crit damage on her. We don't have to have insane HP. We can actually focus on defense. This is why she's so good. She's the only ally protection champion, the only one in this game that you can build for damage and it won't hurt your survivability. Phenomenal for this. Also has decreased attack on the A2, which is great. It has a weaken debuff on the A1, and it's a triple hit attack. She's a very, very good champion for Clan Boss and pairs exceptionally well with somebody like Martyr. So that's who we're going to be bringing in. And then, of course, we do have Martyr in here, as well as Urticata. And the reason why we have Urticata, really cool champion, right? A3 ability, places Hex. It's a 4-hitter, but places Hex. Each hit has a 50% chance. It's pretty much going to be up the full fight. And Hex on itself is nothing, but with her passive ability is insane because whenever this champion or an ally lands a critical hit on an enemy with a Hex debuff, has a 10% chance of placing a 5% poison debuff on the enemy for 1 turn. Well, when booked up, that's 25%. We have 5 champions. They're critting. We have counterattack. So we're getting 2 attacks every turn from all 5 champions. That's going to be like 10 attacks at least. It is phenomenal, and I think it's a critical hit, so multi-hit attacks like from Kyoku have even more chance of landing those poisons. It's going to be a really nice passive ability, so we don't need a poisoner on this team. We're just using Urticata. On top of that, she's got multi-hits on the A2, poison sensitivity. We got on the A1 adding poison straight up. So we can use her with Giant Slayer and do a lot of work. Now, the interesting thing, we're doing a simple 1-1 ratio team. Everybody is under 190 speed. We've got Kyoku at 172, Martyrs at 176, Tatura 178, Urticata at 179, Hotatsu at 184. What does this mean when we're actually in this tune, right? Well, let's go ahead and look at the run and I'll explain it once we're in there. So as you go, you can see the Clan Boss takes the first turn. And this is the one negative about going slower than 190 speed. The speed of the Ultra Nightmare Clan Boss is the Clan Boss goes first, but by sacrificing that 1 turn, I'm able to build my champions with more damage, more defense, more survivability. I think that's a fair trade-off most of the time. In fact, I always lean towards going slower if I can, because it really does allow me to build more in my kit if I don't have to worry about those speeds. I can put defensive boots or attack percentage boots on literally every single one of these champions as a result. So it really ups the numbers that we're able to put out, and these champions are built to the 9. Now I have pretty much everybody preset here, but I do need to manual a little bit because we lose that first turn. Getting some of the skill timing, like the ally protection and the counterattack specifically, to happen right before the AoEs is going to be important. So in the beginning of this, I do want to go ahead and manual the run. So we're going to start off with Hotatsu with the A1, get that leech going. There it is, great. And then we're going to want to go ahead with Urticata and start with the A1 as well, get some poisons up. We're going to want to make sure that Hex is up for the AoEs so that with counterattack can get us some extra poisons on the boss. So we need to wait a little bit. Now here between the AoEs, we do want that block debuff ability from Tatura Rhymehide, right? And here we're just trying to add more damage, right? We need to wait on Martyr to place that counterattack. And here again with Kyoku, it's going to be the same thing. We're just going to use the A1, try and get that weaken up. And look at that. We got those big 3 hits. She can do some serious damage on this boss. Now here, right before the stun, Hitatsu, we're going to try and use this increased defense ability. You notice Martyr and Kyoku only have 1 turn there. The clan boss loves to avoid people that have increased defense, but we don't want Kyoku or Martyr getting stunned because they're not going to have block debuffs up. We want the other champions that are higher in the turn order, Hitatsu primarily, and Totoro Rhymehide, those 2 to be taking that stun. So we're going to go and use this increased defense buff here, and that way everybody will have it up for this stun. Now with Urticata, we're going to go ahead and use the A2 at this point, or yeah, Urticata, right? Get that A2. Now we got that poison sensitivity up, and then Totoro can go ahead and use the Veil. Now because it's a 4-turn cooldown for the Veil, it won't be up all the time, so not always will Totoro be the stun target. If we could make it that way, it'd be ideal, but it's just not going to happen all the time. And so then we're going to go ahead and A3 here with Martyr, and A1 again with Kyoku, keeping that weaken up. Okay, there goes the stun. Perfect. Now at this point, we're pretty much, I can click auto and let it work. We're going to get the decreased attack here from Hitatsu is kind of the idea, just to make sure we have it up for this AoE. Get the poisons, the hex goes up from Urticata. There goes that counterattack, and here's that ally protection and the extra turn, getting an HP burn because we already have decreased attack out there. It's a wonderful, wonderful combination, and it should be very effective. More importantly, Kyoku's not going to take damage because she's got block damage up, so all we have to make sure is the rest of the team is ready to go and can withstand those hits. We have increased defense for the entirety of the fight. We have ally protection for all the AoEs. This is a very, very tanky team, and obviously I built it extremely so it can be really, really effective. Now, I was going to talk about how these speeds work for Clan Boss, right? On Nightmare, the Clan Boss speed is 170. On Ultra Nightmare, the Clan Boss speed is 190. The interesting thing about the Ultra Nightmare speed at 190, as long as our champions are somewhere between 171 speed and 189 speed, the clan boss will never lap them, and they'll never lap the clan boss. That allows us to go to 1-1 ratio. We take an attack, clan boss takes an attack. And that's how we're able to get a very specific speed tune, right? Something that is going to be regular, that we can build a team around. And that's what we want to do. When we go above 190, we get the same effect. So anywhere between 191 and about 207 or so. It can vary as we start getting faster. The number of champions that are going faster can kind of throw that off. But generally, if you keep your champions either in the 190s or in the 170s or 180s, they're all going to go at a 1-1 ratio. And that can be really, really effective for speed tuning your team. And it makes it very simple. So that's why you see so many of the speeds kind of hover around those ranges. Now you go, wait a minute, those 190 speeds, can they interact with the 170s and 180s? Absolutely they can. Because what happens is by going first, but you're still going so fast, you got over like around 20 speed more than everybody else, you're actually able to overcome them and still fall into a nice turn order. So I could have a champion here, like at one point when I was building this, at Urticata at 195 speed. This would have worked on a 1-1 ratio. Kyoku still would have gone last. Martyr still would have gone before her, and it still would have worked. It might have taken a turn or two to set itself up, as Urticata has to catch up on speed on everybody else and lap them, but eventually will fall into a 1-1 ratio team. So you can really mix and match all the speeds within that range and find a wonderful combination that'll work for your squad, whatever that happens to be. But this is obviously fun, right? I love watching Kyoku work. Those are triple attacks. 180,000 damage is insane, especially for an ally protection champion. Why she's so good. You can see we have so many buffs, debuffs up on the boss. Decrease, we got weaken, we've got decreased attack. We generally have decreased defense up as well from Martyr, not to mention the leech, HP burn, poisons from Urticata. This is a very high quality team. We're almost doing 1 million damage per turn, which is really good for a 1-1 ratio team. It's insane. So obviously they're built to the nines, but it shows you the potential that you can get out of a team like this. Now, Urticata herself is not a really strong damage dealer, right? She's not going to do a lot of raw damage, but she has so many attacks that Giant Slayer does a lot of work for you. Martyr's great, Hatatsu's great, Tatura's great. We all know those. But those two champions are kind of new. I haven't really focused a lot on them. And so I kind of wanted to showcase them a little bit and what they can do here. So anyway, guys, you enjoy the run. I'm going to let this run. We'll see how long we last. We'll play a couple songs and then we'll come back at the end. I'll show you the champions and we'll call it a day. Enjoy. There you go. Almost 50 million damage. Pretty good, I'd say. You can see Urticata putting up 15 million. That's really the poisons. She obviously wasn't doing crazy raw damage. But Kyoku put up 10.5. Outside of Urticata and her poisons, Kyoku is a leading damage dealer. She's a very, very good champion, guys. If you have her, use her. Okay, let's go over the builds really quick so you have an idea of what I put on these champions. So obviously a couple different sets going on here. These are stacked out champions, very stacked out. 5,600 defense, 172 speed, 252 crit damage, 244 accuracy. Pretty nice. Masteries, you'll see this with all of them. We're going down the offensive tree and the defensive tree with everybody. You'll notice I did not take blast proof for Kyoku. She's got block damage for the AoE, so I didn't need it, right? We did go down the Giant Slayer for her A1 skill as well, and she's obviously got block damage, so I didn't bother taking Retribution. She wasn't going to lose enough damage to proc that counterattack. So that's the build I used. Got Martyr here, and everybody else besides Kyoku is in Stalwart gear, which definitely helps her survivability. You can see her stats, 176 speed, 100% crit rate, 251 crit damage, she hits, 293 accuracy, definitely higher than I need, and almost 5,000 defense there. Mastery-wise, again, we're going down the offensive tree, down to War Master, and the defensive tree. And then we've got Hotatsu, again, in Stalwart gear. We have him fastest, and the idea was to have him place the leech before everything else got placed, so I just thought that would be helpful for us to ensure that we could heal up when we needed to. 184 speed, 217 crit damage, 247 accuracy, and 5,300 attack or defense. Pretty solid, I'd say. Also, was our stun target, and the stun hit is an HP hit, so we kept his HP pretty low, about 35,000, help him survive a little bit longer. And then masteries for Hotatsu, we went down the offensive tree and the defensive tree. And then we had Urticata. Urticata also in Stalwart gear and a perception set, 244 accuracy, 205 crit damage. Couldn't really get it too high. I was a little surprised by that, but is what it is. 5,000 attack, pretty solid, 179 speed. Mastery-wise, again, going down the offensive tree and the defensive tree. And then very last was Tatura Rhymehide. Again, Stalwart set for him. We had 104 at crit rate, 239 crit damage, no accuracy. We don't need it. It's just a decreased accuracy debuff that he places. We didn't need that. 6,000 defense was very nice, and 178 speed. Mastery-wise, you can see we went down the offensive tree and the defensive tree as well. So you can see a very simple 1-1 ratio team can still be extremely successful. Even if you don't have all these champions, even if you don't have all these stats, a 2-key team is certainly a very possible thing to have happen. You can see with ally protection, you can last a super long time. Kyoku's amazing for that, honestly. Just one of the best champions in this game for clan boss. If you have her, try to use her. The extra turn definitely can mess up some stuff, especially if you're trying to go at a 2-1 ratio. But when it comes to using her best, I think these simple teams, these 1-1 ratio teams, maybe bringing in a 4-3 champion here and there, she's going to be amazing for it. Really, really good and definitely worth building out. So I would recommend, if you have her, use her. She brings so much to the table. Anyway, guys, that's going to be today's video. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and hopefully you hit that subscribe button. That's the best way to support what we do out here. Hit that notification bell so you know when the next one of these comes out. Until next we meet, I'm the Deadwood Jedi.